Yes, this is late. Hugely late, in fact, but like any normal and sane person, I don't rush out to see movies I think look like shit, and yeah, Suicide Squad was just that.
Worst of the worst.
So I've only just seen it, I hated it, and I wanted to bring you my rundown of exactly why this movie is one of the worst piles of excrement I've seen. Join me in the start of a brand new and exciting series, Mr. Happy Reviews. No, Mr. Hate Reviews. That's right, I hate this.
Worst of the worst.
And for this review, I will embody the moniker so many have given me. So let's hate on Suicide Squad together, and if any of you actually liked this movie and thought this was a good piece of cinema and worth the $175 million production budget plus that in marketing, well, I'm sorry for your parents because you must be a burden. Now I know what everyone is going to say, but this was an Oscar-winning film. Yeah, for hair and makeup, and it couldn't even do that to a high standard it should have to have earned itself that Oscar. When the makeup team couldn't even maintain continuity through the film, you can't tell me it was worth an Oscar. And if it was, Oscars are now worthless. It's either the makeup team was so bad and couldn't maintain continuity between scenes, or the editors were so terrible they chopped the footage together in a way that ruined the continuity. But either way, when you have a wet and drowned looking Suicide Squad in one scene as they enter a bar, and the next they are nearly bone dry sat at that same bar getting drinks, you cannot tell me someone looked at that and said, yes, Oscar worthy, Academy, you voted correctly today. No. Just no. How this film claimed an Academy Award is beyond me, but let's be real, it wasn't exactly going up against much that year, the likes of Star Trek Beyond and A Man Called Ove. If I had to pick from them, I probably would have had my right to vote revoked and called for a new set of nominees. But hey. But anyway, I digress. Why is this movie worthy of the first Mr. Hate Reviews? It is so fundamentally upside down broken, it's genuinely difficult to know where to begin. Plot? What plot? We jump so haphazardly from scene to scene with very little structure and flow that it's difficult to really decide what the plot actually is. The first hour of the film is character setup, and amazingly, some of that is repeated. We open with Will Smith as Will Smith. We learn about him through what should have been the character setup. Then we learn about him again later? Oh, and again later. Why is Will Smith in this movie so much, and why does he need 3 or 4 introductions? Was this part of the deal he had? And it's the same with Harley Quinn. But I guess let's try and decipher what the plot was, shall we? Superman popped into existence and everyone crapped their pants. Government operative Amanda Waller now wants to set up a team that could prevent another Superman.
Worst of the worst.
A team of what she calls metahumans, of which there is only actually two metahumans. The others are normal or somewhat more skilled humans. That is kind of the plot. From there, we jump from what I can assume to be first, second and third act after an hour of introductions and setup. But in fairness, the film is so poorly edited together, you could have told me I was having a seizure and I would have believed you. Probably would have been more enjoyable as well. The most hilarious thing out of this gathering of the Suicide Squad though, is when they are trying to get El Diablo involved. This is a man who murdered his wife and kids and has now vowed to be a pacifist. He claims that man is dead and he wants to repent for his sins. Sounds like a model inmate, right? Wrong! They force him into it. A man that wants to repent for his sins? A man that says his former self is dead? Yeah, that's right. They force him into the squad and they force him into a scenario that means he will likely have to kill people again. Right. Okay. I couldn't wrap my head around this at all, and hilariously, El Diablo and his character arc is such that he's a pacifist and only changes his mind at the end of the movie when he unleashes his full power and dies. Well done. And it's framed in such a way that we are supposed to really care for him, and it's supposed to be a somewhat emotional moment. The only way this is emotional is a man is dead because the Suicide Squad forced him to fight when he claimed he was a pacifist. That's the only emotional weight this scene has. But anyway, I digress. Kind of like this movie does at every turn. So the squad is gathered and we learn that the Enchantress, the only person who could possibly be any match to Superman out of all of these idiots, was actually the worst archaeologist in the world, Dr. June Moon. It makes way for both the worst and best scene in the movie. Dr. June Moon, the archaeologist, breaks. Yes, she breaks an ancient artifact which unleashes the Enchantress into her. What kind of terrible doctor are you? You studied and you gained a doctorate in archaeology and you are breaking artifacts. Right. And then what is perhaps the best scene in the movie? This. Just this effect. That's all. That's it. Anyway, Enchantress escapes and frees her brother and starts to make a big blue light into the sky that will destroy the world. Yup, that trope that you thought was played out and done, well no, it's back. And it's back with a vengeance because Warner Brothers don't know any better. And they also decided to make Putty Patrol monsters. Oh yes, we're taking some inspiration from Power Rangers in this movie. And then for some reason, the squad is called up to go and rescue someone. Who that is, it's a mystery for the next 45 minutes. It's not a mystery, it's Amanda Waller, and for no reason, and it leads to the worst twist I've seen in a film, which goes nowhere, for no reason, for a really long time. They aren't sent first to kill the Enchantress, no, that would be silly. They are sent to just rescue Amanda Waller. I mean, talk about wasting government funds, Amanda. Private bodyguards. Anyway, the plot to the movie is all over the place. And if you think I haven't explained it very well, I would genuinely love to hear your explanation. No, really, I would. Not only is the plot all over the place, the editing is just atrocious. It's so choppy, you might be sat there thinking it was edited by two completely different people and just meshed together in the hopes that it would fit, like a puzzle piece being forced into the wrong puzzle. Well, you'd be right. Oh yes, we have a movie that has had two initial cuts, the David Ayer cut and the Trailer Park edit. And they were somehow combined together, cut and pasted with additional reshoots to create the janky crap that we got. So, that is why there is absolutely no flow to this movie, why there is no clear distinction of first, second and third act, no real narrative structure threading each scene together, why we go from nighttime in one scene to daylight in the next, and why we have pop songs running throughout the entire movie in the most corniest of ways possible. That is, of course, not all on David Ayer's hands. However, what is the dialogue. And when you have dialogue like this,
I would advise not getting killed by her. Her sword traps the souls of its victims.
So that's it? What, we some kind of suicide squad?
We're bad guys. It's what we do.
I've been waiting for you all night. Step out of the shadows, I won't fight.
The blame for this crap has to lie firmly on Ayer's head. Because this is some subpar dialogue. I'd expect better from a school play than a movie that had a budget of $175 million. There is fan fiction with better dialogue. And the worst dialogue? Well, that had to go to Jared Leto's Joker. And the blame for that lies with him, as apparently it was mainly all improvised. And all I could think of when I was watching him on screen is those rumours about him sending condoms to the actors, bullets and a dead pig, and this.
Something in my front pocket for you. Why don't you reach down in my pocket and see what it is? Then grab onto it. Doctor.
What is up with this accent and the portrayal of the Joker? When all you can think about is Butters from South Park, you know that you've messed up. It's also the most stupidest way to not only introduce the Joker of this new universe, but also develop a backstory for Harley Quinn. A total waste, and one that doesn't make any sense. In some scenes he loves her, but then when he made her, he wanted to kill her? What? And speaking of nonsensical backstories, let's just jump back to one of those 4 introductions to Will Smith, shall we? He comes face to face with the Batman, and that's how he was captured, because his daughter got in the way and made him surrender. Okay, not too bad at all. What is bad though, is Batman saying, "Don't make me do this in front of your daughter," fully willing to beat him down, maybe even murder him, because we know he has murdered people around this time in this universe in front of Deadshot's daughter. I mean, if you're talking about continuity, this is some messed up continuity. Batman had his parents murdered in front of him. He is the last person to murder someone's father in front of them. Jesus Christ, this film is upside down broken. There is no plot, no structure. The pacing is all over the place. We have a movie that is so poorly lit you can barely make anything out, and the actors' accents that make you think of old-time singing. It's an extended trailer for a movie I hope I never see. It's one of the worst movies,
Worst of the worst.
and deservedly it is the feature first on Mr. Hate Reviews. I hate this film, you should too. If you don't, what's wrong with you? If you disagree with me, let me know. Change my mind. You won't be able to, but I'd love to get an insight into the mind of someone that can actually justify enjoyment from this movie to themselves. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, give this a like and a share if you want to see more Mr. Hate Reviews in the future. As always, I've been Mr. H, and I'll catch you in the next video.